B'Shem Hashem Naaseh v'Natzliach, Shiur Torah, Baruch Hashem. We're back in Aventura. We have our Shiur Torah, we have our Igeret HaRamban series. B'Ezrat Hashem, we'll talk about some interesting things. Good timing also. Nice to see a couple of new faces, Baruch Hashem. Today's shiur will be for a refuah shlema for Levana bat Sarah. Sarah bat Levana, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Shlomo Yaakov ben Chaya Sarah, Esther bat Tzipora, and also Ilui Nishmat Eliyahu ben Frecha. Kadosh Baruch Hu yevarech otam ve'et kol am Yisrael b'ezrat Hashem b'zchut haShiur. So b'ezrat Hashem we have a Judgment Day, Rosh Hashanah, coming up in just a few days. None of us are ready, but we don't actually know that. We think we are because we made some cake. We made some cake and some meatballs. People think to prepare for a holiday, make some meatballs, make some cake, maybe some chulent, maybe some knedalach, some gefilte fish. You're good. You're ready for the holiday. Little do we know what's going on in Shamayim, and the Ramban's letter is giving us a little bit of an insight. In his letter that he wrote almost 800 years ago to his son, he's giving us a little bit of an insight of what's desired in Shamayim, what Hashem wants from us each and every day, not just on Judgment Day. Today, the interesting thing is that he's talking about money, everybody's favorite subject. And it's not new. Money has always been a favorite subject among people. Only he's talking about it differently than most of us are. Now, in the last few months, since we started this series, the Ramban has pretty much warned us to stay away from certain things, from certain character traits. Don't be angry. Don't be prideful. Make sure that you have patience for people, even if they have a different idea than you, even if you disagree. Just look at the famous Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, Hillel and Shammai. They debated throughout the entire Gemara. There's over 300 debates. 300 debates between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel in the Gemara. And most of the time, the halacha goes as Bet Hillel. Now, the president of Eretz Yisrael incorrectly said to a bunch of American Jews he was trying to get some money from, yesterday or the day before, when he went on with some online gathering, that the reason why Bet Hillel won most of the debates is because Bet Hillel listened to Bet Shammai. He had patience to listen to him, but Bet Shammai didn't listen. He turned Shammai into a rasha, this imbecile. The same imbecile that at the end of the meeting didn't even know you're supposed to say bracha on Giffen. He says, oh, guys, let's do a bracha, a celebration. May we all be united. And Chaim. That was his bracha for Yain. He put his kippah, put the kippah out of the pocket, put it on his head. Put it on his head. He goes, all right, let me put my kippah, we'll do a blessing. May all of us be united. Chaim. And he took a drink. My 2-year-old, Baruch Hashem, knows that when you see Yain, you say, you have real bracha. But the president of Eretz Yisrael doesn't know that. But he knows, somehow he knows, though, that Shammai didn't listen. Shammai didn't listen. That's why he won all the debates. So, truth is that Shammai is right. Shammai is right. Truth is, Gemara says Shammai is right. Across the board. But the reason why Shammai is not halacha in this world is because we cannot handle it as human beings. We're too soft. We're too weak to handle the real halacha. But after Mashiach comes, it's Bet Shammai. It's Bet Shammai. Bet Shammai. It's not Bet Hillel. Why? You don't have Yetzirah anymore. You can handle it. But there's a few times that Bet Shammai is even right in this world, and that's the halacha. But the point being is that despite the many disagreements between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, they still hugged each other at the end. They still married their children to each other to show their love to their students. Or the students thought, oh, if you're all arguing all the time, that means you hate each other. Chas v'shalom. There's truth and there's falsehood. There's his truth and then there's my truth. Sometimes we're both right. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes he's wrong. But we're always going to be friends. Why? We just have a different opinion. His truth is his truth. He's right about his truth. He arrived at truth using his formula, and it's correct. I arrived at my truth using my formula, and that's correct. This and this are the words of the living God. They're both right, but the halacha goes as Hillel or Shammai, whatever it is. But sometimes one of them is wrong. Sometimes one of them is right. But most of the time, they're both right. Either way, it's okay to have a difference of opinion. It's okay. The entire Gemara is full of differences of opinion. But the tzaddikim, they hug each other after, and to make sure that nobody misconstrued it, they made sure to marry their kids to each other. That's how much they loved each other. They married their kids to each other. I mean, you're not going to let your daughter marry somebody you hate. You're not going to let your son marry somebody that you hate. So, the difference is today is that people don't know how to have debates. People don't know how to have disagreements. They think that if you disagree with somebody, that means you hate them. That means you're enemies. That means that you have to go to war. I can't live if your opinion is different than mine. You can't live if my opinion is different than yours. You're like Daesh. You're like ISIS. I'm Israel. You know, people are crazy today. Reality is disagreements are perfectly fine. When is it not fine? It's not fine when the disagreement is not because you disagree with me. It's because your ideology is the enemy of mine. And my ideology is the enemy of yours. Meaning, you're a Palestinian terrorist, I am a Jew. We will never agree on who the land belongs to. Never. If you're a normal Jew, you will never agree who the land belongs to with a Palestinian terrorist or somebody from Iran or somebody else from somewhere else, even the KKK. It doesn't make a difference. You're never going to agree with them. Why? Because their ideology is enemy with yours. My ideology is enemy with theirs, and so on and so forth. So that means we cannot coexist. Why? Because my existence bothers you. Your existence bothers me. Now, sometimes that happens, but that's rare and few. If you see someone that's a secular Jew, doesn't keep mitzvot, doesn't necessarily mean that his ideology is the enemy of yours. It's the opposite of yours. It doesn't agree with yours. He wants to do whatever he feels like doing. You have a king running the world that you have to comply with, and that's okay. You have to show him, the king, that your king is also his king. Doesn't mean you have to be enemies. The Rambam says, if you see somebody that's simply ignorant, you have to bring him a kalev, bring him closer. Bring him closer, that's the point. It's the point of the religious people, is to bring the non-religious closer. The reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu destroyed the Beit HaMikdash wasn't because of the secular people. It was because of the religious people. Why? Because the religious people gave up on the secular ones. Said, you guys don't want to be religious? The heck with you. We're going to be religious on our own. So Hashem says, they're going to be religious on their own? Okay, I'll kill both of you. You first. Religious first. And that's what happened, twice. And it's happening again. Why? Because the job of the religious is to bring the non-religious. When is the job of the religious to run away from the non-religious? When the non-religious is anti-Torah. If the non-religious is not just not keeping Torah and mitzvot, he hates the Torah. She hates the Torah. The Torah makes her skin crawl. She wants gay parades in every avenue. She wants the Torah to become a mattress in every house. She wants the kotel to be like a museum. That is an enemy of the Torah. The two cannot coexist. Now what happens sometimes, Rabotai, is that people like this Reuven from Eretz Yisrael, the president of Israel, that's a chanfan. You know what a chanfan is? A kiss-up. A kiss-up. There's one of the 10 Commandments is that you're not allowed to be a chanfan. Not allowed to be a kiss-up. Not allowed. So, he's a chanfan. He gathered a bunch of people from the Jewish Federation. And he said, all of us need to be united, the Reform, the Conservative, the Atheists, the Atheists, the Christians, the whatever. Everybody together. Why? Because you get everybody's money, it's good. If you just get money from the Orthodox, not that much. You get some money just from the Conservative, not that much. You get some money for everybody, oh yeah, get more votes. So this Reuven guy, he's a chanfan. He wanted everybody to be friends. So he starts changing and distorting the Torah the way he likes it, distorting the reality the way he likes it. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, if you desecrate my name, I'll embarrass you. How so? Right now, one of the main things that this Reuven was fighting for is control of the land. That's the point of the president. But Ahmad Dibi, the Arab terrorist that's in the Israeli Congress, he just said to Reuven, the president of Israel, you don't tell us what to do. We, the Palestinians, we run this place. We run this country. We're going to run it the way we want. We're going to take over the government. Meaning they're not even fighting for land anymore. Say it's ours already. We're going to run it. Now all of us are going to say, no, come on, what power do these Palestinians have? Ooh, what? The Zohar Kadosh says that before Mashiach comes, the Arabs, Ishmael, Bnei Ishmael, are going to get control of the land. Now most of us thought it's going to be a war, an all-out war. Iran's going to atomic bomb, Shem Yachem, Saudi Arabia, somebody. No, there's no war. The Arabs, for the first time in history, are supporting a Jewish guy to be the new prime minister. Benny Gantz, you want him to be president. Why? Because he hates the Torah. He hates the Torah, so it's perfect for them. They know that the way to beat Am Yisrael is when they hate the Torah. So they want him. The Arabs now want him to be the prime minister. And that's, Rabotai, how, without even lifting a knife, the Arabs can take over, Hashem Yenachem Aleinu, when they do, or if they do, how they take over Eretz Yisrael. And the Zohar Kadosh says that they're going to take over the land from what merit? The merit of the Brit Milah of Ishmael. The Brit Milah of Ishmael, Ishmael still gets a Brit Milah, but since it's an incomplete Brit Milah, they don't do a real Brit Milah like Jews. They don't do certain parts. But they still have a reward for it. And the reward is that before Mashiach comes, they're going to get control over the land of Israel. And a lot of us thought rationally, oh yeah, there's going to be a war. Maybe it already happened when they were controlling before 1948 and so on and so forth. All of us wanted this to be the past. But in reality, it's the present. In reality, it may be the future. But the good news is, everything can change. Every single thing can change. How could it change? The Rabbeinu Bechaye ben Asher lived about 800 years ago, was the Talmid of the Rashba. Not the same Rabbeinu Bechaye that wrote the Chovot HaLevavot 1,000 years ago. A different Rabbeinu Bechaye. Chovot HaLevavot was written about 1,000 years ago. This Rabbeinu Bechaye who lived 800 years ago. But was also one of the Gdolim, Talmid of the Rashba in Barcelona. Came from a very famous family of Rabbanim. And he wrote in a sefer called Kad HaKemach. The power of tefillah, the power of prayer, can change nature, save a person from disaster, and even cancel decrees that were already signed and sealed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's how powerful tefillah is. In a couple of days, when all of us go to the Bet Knesset, hopefully when everybody shuts up and just prays, instead of socialize, we go to Bet Knesset on Rosh Hashanah to actually pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the opportunity all of us have to change the decree. But if everybody talks and socializes at the Bet Knesset, it's better off to pray home. Don't go. Bet Knesset that people talk during Tefillah, during Kaddish, is not a Bet Knesset. It's a bar. Just without drinks. Sometimes they have the drinks in the closet though. But if it's a Bet Knesset, and people are quiet, they only talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, go pray there. Why? You, little old you from America. You, little old you from Australia. You, little old you from Eretz Yisrael, from some kfar, some town no one ever heard of. Little old you have the power by yourself. You only know of Am Yisrael. You by yourself have the power to change the entire decree for all of the nation. Male, female, kid, adult, doesn't make a difference. That's what Rabbeinu Bechaye says. That's how powerful a tefillah is. But what happens sometimes? Sometimes we give up. Sometimes we're like, look at what's going on. Everybody's Mechalel Shabbat anyway. Everybody's secular anyway. Hashem's going to destroy us anyway. We're all going to Gehinnom anyway. Everything is garbage anyway. He's sick anyway. He's going to die anyway. They have all the good news in the world. So they just give up. So in his commentary on the Torah, the same Rabbeinu Bechaya says, a person that gives up hope loses this merit that he mentioned in Kada Kemach of how a tefillah can overcome and turn nature, change nature altogether. Storm is here, now it's not. Change a disaster, earthquake, now no earthquake. Cancel a decree. There was a decree, the guy has cancer, now he doesn't have cancer. How? We don't know, it's not our business how. But a person that gave up, raised his hand, doesn't even want to pray. When he prays like, like one of these people, like he's doing somebody a favor. He just went to the minyan because he had nowhere else to go. And he's waiting for his friends to finish. He said, well, I might as well pray. So Rabbeinu Bechaya says, somebody that gives up and loses hope, he loses this merit. And even if he prays, even if she prays, the prayer gets automatically rejected. You already gave up. That the prayer is not going to be anything anyway. Don't pray then. Why? It's going to be rejected anyway. If you don't believe in your prayer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't believe in it either. Measure for measure. If you believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do anything, then he can do anything. But if you limit Hashem to only do what you can do, then that's what he can do. You can't do anything, he can't do anything either. So we have a lot of problems right now. Why? Because it's hard for us to pray with full kavanah. It's hard for people. Most of the time people tell me, and I agree with them, it's easier to pray by yourself than to pray with a minyan. You have much more kavanah. Why? You're the only one talking. So you're going to talk to. You talk to Hashem. But you're in a Knesset, everybody wants to talk to you. And you want to talk to everybody else. You haven't seen him in a year. He's wearing a new white kippah. Oh, why is he wearing white? Why is it a Kedus Gula? Oh, look at his jacket. It looks like it's from Louis Vuitton. It looks like it's from this. I want to ask him, where did he get this jacket? From Marshall's for a discount, or he actually went to the store? Like you're interested in his jacket. You see he has shoes, and the shoes match the jacket. And then you see a watch. The watch looks like it's wearing 15 pounds. Is this a real watch, or did he buy it from like the CVS store, but it looks real? Look, you're interested. He parked the car in the front. Is it really his car, or did he rent it just to show off? Everybody's interested in everybody's life during Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Why? Because it's a show and tell. To show and tell, everybody shows up to the Beit Knesset. So everybody shows up. The guy never showed up the whole year. He's eating pork the whole year with his goya. He shows up, Shana Tova, El Metuka. He gives everybody Shana Tova. He became Mekubal. Shana Tova, Habibi, every Shana Tova, Kvod Harav, like he even knows the Rav. No, it's not the Rav. Oh, no, it's just a guy. He has a beard. Okay, he's not a Rav. Okay, Shana Tova to you anyway. And if he wants to be a real Mekubal, he starts giving candy during Tefillah. He starts giving little candies to make the year extra sweet. Shana Tova to everybody. What page are we on? We haven't started. Oh, okay. What are they doing now? They're selling the donations now. Oh, okay, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. No, you're not allowed to smoke a cigarette. No, isn't it fire? Rabotai. Even that guy, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves him. As long as when he prays with kavanah. But if he comes to shul just to socialize, better off for him to stay home. Better off for you to stay home too, if that's all you have. So now we have to understand. During these next few days, we have an opportunity to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and turn around all of the decrees. But since most of us have a very difficult time praying with kavanah, because there's always some guy that wants the attention, there's always somebody that's talking, there's always somebody's kids running around causing chaos. It's hard to have kavanah. It's hard. So we have to do something active. When you pray by yourself, unfortunately, it's not the same level of prayer as we talked about in previous lectures. When you pray with other people, it's a little hard sometimes because sometimes they go too fast, sometimes too slow, and so on and so forth. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do something to show us that we have real kavanah. And what's that? Do tshuva. That's really all He wants from us. Do tshuva. Now doing tshuva, as we've talked about in previous shulim, is not so simple. By simply you just decide to put tefillin on once a day, that's enough. You have to keep, first of all, the entire Torah. Now, you have to make sure that you change your entire lifestyle. You have to make sure that you start influencing your wife to become modest. You have to start influencing yourself to become modest. You have to do a lot of different things. Start learning Torah. But one of the mitzvot that you have to do, that I think is probably the most difficult mitzvah for people in this generation. Aside from, I'm not talking about a mitzvah like a sin, a prohibition. I'm talking about an obligated, something that you need to do. Now obviously the addiction of wasting seeds, znut, immodesty, all that stuff, everybody knows that's the addiction of the generation. I'm not talking about that. There's one mitzvah that we have to do in order for us to do tshuva. But it's really, really hard. And the reason why is because we have to literally transform our minds in order to fulfill this mitzvah. And what's this mitzvah? It's called tzedakah. Tzedakah and maaser. This, by the way, is one of the most difficult mitzvot for this generation. And the reason why is because if people are generous, it's usually because they don't want to change their life. So they'll give money, just don't ask me to come to the shiur. I'll send you money. I'll send you money. Don't ask me to put on tefillin. I'll just send you money. You do tefillin for me. Don't ask me to learn. You learn for me. I'll give you the money. Just leave me alone. Either you have that kind of guy that's generous, or you have, he's sealed. Like the Federal Reserve, sealed. You can't get in, you can't get out, nothing. The gold is in there, it's not coming out. I took a bunch of clients over there one time. I asked them, can I see one of the gold? No, the gold's there. I said, when does it come out? Never. I said, when does it move? Never. I said, it never moved? He goes, well, it moved 5 years ago. We moved from here to Sweden. We moved one little cart, a few gold bars from Sweden to Belgium. That's the way we do. But the gold never leaves the building. Some people's money never leaves their pocket. Why? They idolize it. The harder a person works for their money, the harder it is for them to give it away. Especially when it comes to Torah. They'll give it away to go buy a new watch. They'll give it away to go on vacation. They'll give it away to some, strange cause that has nothing to do with Hashem. But to publicize Torah, it's very hard for them. And that's what the Ramban talks about. And we're going to go back and see how this has a lot to do with our tshuva. Now, one of the main reasons why a person can become stingy with their money actually comes from failing in one of the previous character traits of being a prideful person. By thinking that the more money they have, the higher their IQ is, the better person they are. And the Ramban writes, "Ubameid gai leva adam, im be'osher Adonai morishu ma'ashir." The Ramban writes, for indeed, of what should a man be prideful? What reason could anybody be prideful for? He says the first reason that people are usually prideful, they think who they are, is because of money. And if he has wealth, it's Hashem who makes him prosperous. Meaning, wait, yes, okay, you have money, but do you actually believe you made the money? The fact that you think you made the money because you had an idea, you invented something, you got the client, you closed the deal, you started the company, you bought this and then sold that, you sold this and then bought that, you think you did it, that's already the first problem. You already gave yourself too much credit. So the question is, how much credit should we give ourselves for making money? The Ramban says, 0. You did nothing. Wait a minute, but I made the call. And then the client answered. Okay, you made the call. Who gave you those hints? You gave your hints? No. Who gave you the brain that understood what a call even means? Who gave you the idea to call that particular client? The thought inside the brain. Who actually created that client? Who influenced that client's heart to answer the phone and talk to you and even say yes? When you start calculating the responsibility of Hashem versus your own, you arrive at the same answer as the Ramban. You actually did nothing aside from desire to make money. That's it. That's what you did. You desired to make money. You had an effort. Now, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, chapter 49, verse 17 and 18, "Fear not when a man grows rich, when he increases the splendor of his house, for upon his death he will not take anything. His splendor will not descend after him." In so many words, the source of you can't take anything with you after this world that people say all the time comes from the Torah, comes from David HaMelech. David HaMelech says sometimes you see a guy make so much money, he wants to show it off. So even though he only has 2 kids and a dog, and one of the kids is leaving the house anyway because he's getting married, so he's only going to be left with 1 kid and a dog, he wants to get a house that's 8 bedrooms. Just in case the dog has puppies. Just in case there's, somebody wants to show up and he wants to show off that he has 8 rooms. He wants to build 18 different floors. He wants to have 3 different kitchens even though his wife hasn't cooked in 3 years. He wants to have a guest house even though he hates guests. He can't stand guests, but he wants to have a guest house. Just in case people want to see from an airplane on the news, they want to see that he has a guest house. He has 3 cars even though he hasn't driven because he works out of the house. And whenever he drives, he usually gets a limo. But he wants to build a house. He says that guy that's building that house, expanding his kitchen, redecorating the outside, don't be so overly impressed by this, because when he dies, he can't take any of it. All of the splendor, all of the fancy windows, the hurricane protected windows that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and the fancy rims that he has on his car, all that stuff stays here. Yeah, but he spent so much money on it. Okay, spent so much money on it. It's for other people to enjoy. He spent a lot of money for other people to enjoy his stuff. That's what he spent money on. And the best part about it is that usually somebody says, yeah, I'm building this house, but my kids are going to inherit it. First thing the kids do is sell the house. Oh yeah, I'm building this business for my kids. First thing the kids do is sell the business. Or give the business to somebody else. Why? Your dream is not their dream. Sometimes your dream is their nightmare. All they want is the money. Yeah, what about my memory? Memory? Oh, maybe the worms and the maggots, maybe they'll remember you as a good dinner. Nice dinner, nice kosher steak. Took a year to eat you. But sometimes people, even during their life, they get punished from Hashem, where their kids forget them during their life. A guy came to Rabbi one time and asked for some advice. Rabbi says, you, Baruch Hashem, you were blessed with some money. Why don't you give some money? Have some poor families. The holidays are coming. Pesach was coming. Why don't you give some money for these families? Kvod Harav, I just came for advice. No money, no money. Just okay, the meeting was over. The guy goes to his house, his nice apartment in Eretz Yisrael. Leila Seder comes up, and his 2 teenage sons are playing sheshbesh and cards, and then sheshbesh again, back and forth. And he said, guys, come on, let's have the Seder. We're having dinner, no, the Seder. They're not the most religious, but, Shomer Shabbat Keilu, sometimes. He said, come on, guys, stop with the game. Let's do Leila Seder. Abba, few minutes. Okay, so he doesn't want to get into a fight. It's not a good sign to start the whole Leila Seder with a fight. So he waits, few minutes. 15 minutes pass. He figures they're going to come. They don't come. Guys, no, Leila Seder, come on, no, yalla. It's getting late. Abba, 5 minutes. He ends up waiting 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Guys, Abba, stop it already. We'll get there whenever we feel like it. Talk to me? Talk to me like this, he says. I built this house with my own hand. He thinks he's God for a second. Built a house with my own hand. He gets up with all of his anger. He walks over to them thinking he's the boss. He takes the sheshbesh and flips it off the table. Get to the dinner. His 2 teenage sons. I said, what? One grabs one shoulder. The other one grabs the other shoulder and they throw him out of the house. Lock the door. They go back to the sheshbesh. During Chol HaMoed, the guy came to Rav Ovadia crying hysterical. He says, Kvod Harav, you wouldn't believe it. What? I spent the whole Chag outside. I spent the whole Chag outside. I didn't even eat. Nothing. I was outside like a homeless person. Tells him the whole story. So everybody says, okay, so why are you surprised? He's expecting to get the rabbi maybe to give him some guidance, talk to his kids. Rabbi says, why are you surprised? I asked you to help some poor families that didn't have something to eat. You said no. So Hashem says, oh, you don't care about my other kids to eat? You're not going to eat either. What? Measure for measure. Why are you surprised? What, you think Hashem didn't watch the conversation? He didn't listen? You didn't care that other children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu were going to eat. You're not going to eat either. You like the money in the bank, right? Okay, so the money stayed in the bank and the food stayed on the table. Sometimes we think that if we keep the money in the bank, it's going to help us. The Ramban says that when a person works really hard making money, he forgets who's the one that's making it. One of the prime examples of somebody that followed Torah and mitzvot to such an extent that he had Ruach HaKodesh. You know what it is to have Ruach HaKodesh? Ruach HaKodesh means you have an idea of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is thinking. You have an idea of what's going on in Shamayim. That's Ruach HaKodesh. You guys should get it. I promise you, it's the best. You know how to Ruach HaKodesh? Korach. Korach had Ruach HaKodesh. And Beruach HaKodesh, Korach knew that Shmuel, that the Gemara says, he was like Moshe and Aaron together. He knew that Shmuel is coming from him. He's going to be one of his descendants. So Korach says, there's no way that I'm wrong in this debate between me and Moshe. Why? If Shmuel's coming from me, there's no way that Hashem's going to kill me. Why? Because then Shmuel's not going to come. Korach never thought that his sons are not going to follow him. Why? Why did Korach never even think that his sons are ever going to betray him? Because the Gemara says, everybody followed Korach. Everybody followed Korach. Why? He had a lot of money. Lots and lots of money. He had as much money as all of Am Yisrael put together. There were 3 treasures that Yosef HaTzadik hid. That was all the money of the Egyptians. Am Yisrael as a nation found one. Korach by himself found another. So he had as much money as the entire nation put together. That's how much money he had. He had 70 camels. 70 camels just to hold the keys to all of his safes. That's how much money he had. And the Gemara says he started giving money. He was a big Baal Tzedakah. Gave a lot of tzedakah to all the rabbis. That's why the 250 biggest rabbis in the world, they were on Korach's side. All the biggest rabbis, except Moshe Rabbeinu, was on Korach's side. Now these rabbis, they're not Rishayim, Tzadikim. They all had Ruach HaKodesh. They all prayed 3 times a day. They went to Mount Sinai. They heard HaKadosh Baruch Hu speak. Any of you heard HaKadosh Baruch Hu speak? So don't say you're more tzaddikim than them. Any of you see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's words in the sky? No, so don't say you're more tzaddikim than them. But guess what? Them and Korach are still screaming in Gehinnom till this day. Why? Money. Money, Rabotai. Gemara says because he gave the money, he bought their opinion. He bought their mind. He bought their brain. he bought his own brain. He thought that because he had money, that makes him right. And money went to his head. And the Midrash says, in order to prove that money doesn't mean anything, the possessions of a person don't mean anything, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished Korach and his followers, the 250 rabbis, he not only opened up the ground to swallow Korach, but the Midrash says that every single material possession that belonged to Korach was also swallowed, to such an extent that if he lent, or his wife lent a needle to her neighbor, but she didn't give it back yet, that needle was swallowed by the ground. Any possession that belonged to Korach, even if it was lent to somebody else, the ground opened up and swallowed it whole. Meaning that there was only one person that left this world with all of their stuff. And that's Korach. But him and his stuff are still screaming in Gehinom today. Now, this, Rabotai, is because Korach thought that money means that you're right. Sometimes we think that because we have a little bit of money, we know more than the rabbi. Or we know more than the Torah. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that a person can do. A person becomes arrogant as he starts becoming more successful, especially if he's young, especially if his role models are celebrities. You know, people look up to all of these celebrities and athletes, the most arrogant people on earth. If you actually look at their end versus where they are right now, you see that where they were in the beginning, you see there's two different pictures. When they were at their heights, it looked great. New car every other day, new house, they're on different shows, they're in different movies. But then a few years later, more or less, they end up becoming one of the permanent patients in one of these rehab centers, sometimes on a homeless list, sometimes on an extra in a movie that no one even watches anymore. They become complete losers. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ga'avat Adam tashpilenu. The pride of man is how he's going to destroy him. He hates pride. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you money, he didn't give you money to be prideful with it. He gave you money to do good things with it. But if you use it the wrong way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishes you for that. Now, sometimes people give tzedakah. They give to the Beit Knesset. They give to the organization. But they don't give enough. They give whatever they feel like it. The guy says, listen, I give a lot of money. I used to say, I give a lot of money. I did. Anytime somebody came to my office 2-3 times a week, they got money. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever was sounded good. One time I told the guy no. So he stayed in my office for 3 hours until I said yes. He didn't leave. Why? Because he knew that it's just a matter of time before I tell him yes. Sefer Torah, all types of things. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided one day, okay, that money I gave you, it's mine now. It's gone. Why? Apparently I didn't give enough. How do I know? It's a Gemara about it. One of the richest people in Am Yisrael, at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, was a person by the name of Nagdimon ben Gurion. Nagdimon ben Gurion was tzaddik. He's actually one of only a few people, I believe it's 2 people in history, or 3 people in history, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu stopped the sun for him. Stopped the sun in the middle of the sky for him, for his benefit. So he wasn't a Rasha. But the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit says that one day, Rabban Yochanan and a few of the other tzaddikim see a woman looking through the feces of the horses that belong to the Arabs. Looking. He says, lady, what are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for some barley so I could eat it because I'm starving to death. He says, they say to her, who are you? Because they see this woman is disheveled. Her clothes have so many holes in them, she had to use her really, really long hair to cover herself. That's how poor she was. She's looking at the waist. of the horses and the donkeys of the Arabs just so she could eat something. He says, who are you? You speak Hebrew, you're a Jew, who are you? He says, I'm the daughter of Nagdimon ben Gurion. You're the daughter of Nagdimon? How could it be? Your father is the richest man, was the richest man of the land. Just the gift that he gave you, we remember, he gave you for the wedding, he gave you 1,000,000 zuz. 1,000,000 zuz, it's something like $400 billion. It's a retarded amount of money. That was the gift he gave you for the wedding. How could it be? You went from here to you're eating, you're worse than us. Like, how could it be? She says, yes, my father lost all of his money. Okay, but what about your father-in-law? Your father-in-law also had some money. He says, my father-in-law also had lost all of his money because he was connected with my father. Once one is cursed, so is anybody that's involved in him, with him. Why is your father cursed? He gave a lot of tzedakah. She says, he didn't give enough. He didn't give enough. Yeah, but he gave millions, billions, billions, millions. Good. Not enough. Not enough. People are impressed by big numbers sometimes. But if you're ish emet, you're not impressed by big numbers. Why? Because you know what the emet is. Somebody came to Rav Steinemann, alav shalom, and they brought a guest with them. Said, Kvod Rav, this is one of the donors of the organization. He just donated, Kvod Rav, get this, $4 million to the yeshivot. $4 million he gave to the yeshivot, Kvod Rav. Give him a nice bracha, you know, with the whole thing, you know. Rav Steinemann says, bracha v'atzlacha. Goes back to his book. No, Kvod Rav, $4 million. $4 million is a lot of money. In Eretz Yisrael, it's even more. Times it almost by 4. 16 million shekels. You could do a lot with 16 million shekels. Kvod Rav, $4 million. Bracha v'atzlacha. Back to the book. So they felt uncomfortable. Told the guy, listen, the rabbi doesn't feel well. He's old, you know, he's almost 100 years old. He doesn't feel good. Said bracha v'atzlacha. Bracha v'atzlacha. After they left, one of the Talmidim of Rav Steinemann that was there watched the whole thing. He says, Rabbi, you know, like, why did the Rav actually give the guy the bracha? I mean, Kvod Rav, $4 million is a lot of money. Why didn't the Rav give him something, you know, more than just bracha v'atzlacha? 2 words. The guy making $4 million should get more than a bracha v'atzlacha. Rav Steinemann says to a student, he said, listen, the way they talk about this guy is that he has no less than $100 million. So he gave $4 million. So he gave 4% to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's there to be impressed about? Hashem gave him 100 million. He only gave 4% to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Big deal. You even are lucky with taking it. He should say, thank you for taking it, Bichlal. What, is he doing anybody a favor? Hashem gave him 100 million. He gave 4 back. He's lucky we're even taking it. Bracha v'atzlacha is more than he deserves. You want to get more than bracha v'atzlacha? Give the 96 and you take the 4. Then you get whatever bracha, whatever atzlacha, start dancing for you, he says. Then it's impressive. That's impressive. Somebody that gives all the money back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to publicize the Torah, that's impressive. But he gave 4%. What does he want? He's lucky we're taking it, he says. That's a ish emet. That's the emet. If you think otherwise, you're still living a dream. The emet is, yes, kol hakavod, you gave X amount of money. But if that X amount of money is below what you're obligated to give anyway, what do you want? People say, oh, I gave tzedakah. How come I'm still losing money? Maybe you didn't give enough. No, I gave a lot. I bought Sefer Torah, 60,000 last year. Yeah, but how much did you make? Well, I made $1.5 million. Okay, so 60,000, you're still in debt for at least another 90,000, just to give the maaser, to break even with your responsibility. And that's just the maaser responsibility. If you have a lot of money, more than this $1 million, you have to give even more than maaser. What do you mean? I worked so hard for it. Did you? Really? You did it yourself? All by yourself? Hashem didn't do anything? But that's the problem, Rabotai. We think we're doing the whole thing. And part of the reason is because people are so impressed by our success. We are so impressed by our success. We start tooting our own horn. We start thinking that we really are all that. You see the digits on your bank start going up. Ooh, wow, ooh, yeah, look, I did this, I did that. Meaning that it becomes very, very difficult to be humble when you have a lot of money. Now, a person can give tzedakah, but if he doesn't give enough, he's not going to get that same blessing. It's very important for a person to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that gave it to him. Now, if a person works really hard to gain all of his material, it's actually going to make him more cheap, not more generous. People always say, no, if I had more, I'd give more. You're a liar. It's not true. You have more, you give less. Proof? All of the non-profit organizations in the world are living from poor people. The vast majority of donations in the world are being made by people that are middle to lower class. But everybody thinks, no, they're all living by that big $100 million charity that he gave. No, that's just part of the stuff they do. The way they eat every month is from people sending $20, $50, $100, $1,000, $50. It's not the millions. It's not the millions. Not the millions at all. Sometimes those millions come with so many conditions you regret the day you even met the guy. He tells you, listen, I'm going to give you a certain amount of money, but you have to spend it a certain amount of this way, a certain amount that way. He starts becoming your boss because he gave you a donation. So, the real charity in the world actually comes from people that have less money, not more money. And it's not because they don't need the money, but rather they appreciate the money less. They're not as connected to it as the rich people are. As the Gemara says, you give somebody 100, he wants 200. You give him 200, he wants 400. The more a person works to acquire more and more and starts giving himself the credit that he's the one or she's the one that's acquiring it, the harder it becomes for them to get rid of it. And then they can become spiritually sick with a disease called stinginess. Now, in Hebrew, stinginess is called kamtzan, to be a kamtzan. And a kamtzan, uchashud alakol. Someone that's a kamtzan, someone that's a stingy person, anytime that there is any type of crime, the first person that's accused is the kamtzan. Why? Because he has all the reasons in the world to make the crime. Someone that's generous is not necessarily going to be as big of a target. Naturally, if there's a robbery, first person you look at is the guy that loves money. Not the guy that has money, but the guy that loves money, the guy that's stingy. You ask, people go to dinner. Instead of saying, it's 5 people, $300. Everybody has money. Instead of one guy picking it up, it's like, they start splitting it up. Okay, no. I bought $20.72. He starts taking out pennies out of his pocket. He's not splitting it evenly between 5 people like a normal person or just picking up the tab like a gentleman. No, he starts splitting it. No, I had the steak, but I only had 3 bites. So I'm not going to pay the whole thing. I didn't have a Coke. I didn't have a drink. He starts calculating exactly how much he spent. No, I didn't even have dessert. You guys had dessert. He gets out of the thing. He got $9.99. Everybody else had to pay for everything else. Why? Because he's so stingy. One time we went to an event, bunch of guys. And we got to the door, and the guy started arguing with the people at the door. No, come on, it's too much money to enter, too much money to enter. 15 minutes. There was maybe 30 of us. And I'm in the back, nothing, just doing nothing. I'm saying, what's wrong? Why are we here for 15 minutes? It's cold. It's like, oh, they're arguing with the guy at the door. Why? It's like, oh, he wants to charge every guy $5. You're arguing for 20 minutes for $5? Sometimes people love money so much, they don't want to spend $5. Now, if you don't have $5, why are you outside? You should be home. You should be working to make the $5, for heaven's sake. Why do you go out with no money? But now that you're out, you're arguing with the guy for $5? It has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with how much a person values money, values it too much, loves it too much, addicted to it too much. And when a person is addicted to money to that extent, he will make every crime under the sun for the sake of money. He'll steal, he'll cheat, he'll lie, and he'll justify it. He'll rationalize it. He'll live perfectly comfortable being a thief and a liar, accusing the world of all the wrong and never accusing himself. This is a very common thing where people love to accuse the world of all the crimes in the world that they're performing themselves. Now, one of the things that the Ramban is trying to teach us here is that money is not something that you can take with you. But the Chachamim give an analogy to give a person an idea of how he should view life. There was once a person that got to Judgment Day, and they accused him of a very heavy crime. Now this person, he didn't really know how to defend himself. So he asked his friends to help him. Called one of his friends, his best friend, the friend that he spent the most amount of time with. This friend, mamash, they were like this for years, connected. He says, listen, I got this problem, I got a case against me. It's really dangerous. His friend says, sorry, buddy. It was fun while it lasted. You're on your own here. Poor guy gets let down by his best friend. But he says, okay, you know what? Let me call my other friend. He's a really good guy. I'll call him. Hopefully he'll help me out. Calls the second friend. Second friend says, listen, I understand you're in a jam, but best I can do, I'll give you a ride to the courthouse. I'm not going in. He goes, yeah, but I need a defendant. He goes, hey, now you're asking for too much. You mean giving you a ride, or you go pay Uber? Uber or nothing, I'm going to give you a ride if you want. That's it. It's the most I can do. We'll talk on the way. Okay, I'll take the ride. Fine. But he still needs somebody to defend him. Why? He doesn't know how to defend himself. All of a sudden, he gets a call. Sees a number. Oh, wow, I haven't talked to this guy in a long time. You know what? Let's talk to him. He sounds all down. He goes, hey, what's up? What's going on? It's like, hey, listen, I heard you're in trouble. He goes, yeah, how'd you know? He goes, no, I heard it's word gets around. You need anything? He goes, I actually need somebody to speak up for me. Tell the judge that I'm really a good guy. I didn't do it. He goes, listen, don't worry about anything. I'm with you. I'll pick you up from the house. You don't need anybody else. I'll pick you up from the house. I'll take you to the courthouse. I'm going to write a letter ahead of time to all the judges that I know, everybody that I know. We're going to go there. We're going to win this case. Because you're going to do all this for me. Says, yeah, you're my brother. I love you. Brother, I haven't talked to the guy in years. He goes, okay, fine, no problem. Hey, the guy's so happy. That is what's called the mashal, the parable. What's the nimshal? What's the lesson learned? The first friend that he called, that was his best friend that he spent every minute with, is money. It represents money. We spend every minute of our life chasing it. We try to acquire more and more of it so we can get a bigger house, and then another house, and another vacation, and a fancier watch, and a nicer car, and a nicer this, and a nicer that. And we spent all of our lives just chasing money with really no thought process behind it as far as how much we're spending acquiring money and how much we're actually spending using it to the actual valuable things in life. Like family, like serving a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We don't really take that into account. Why? Because we're so busy chasing money, paying bills. We're like blenders. We just eat all day, blend, blend, blend. It leaves, we bring more stuff in over and over again. You wake up in the morning, go make money, work, pay bills, go back home, eat, drink, go to sleep. Next day, go eat, pay bills more again. That's it. Every day, every day, every day. You pay bills, you spend the money, you pay bills, you spend the money. And that's people's life for 70, 80 years or until Hashem takes them. That's it. They spend their whole life being a blender. So the money says to the guy, listen, you spend your whole life with me. We're close. But once you leave this world, I can't help you. Judgment day in Shamayim, that heaven, you're on your own. It was good while it lasted, though. I'll remember you, but I can't help you. That's the first friend. Second friend is your family. Family, sometimes you actually end up spending some time with them. Sometimes a little too much time. Sometimes you become one of the girlfriends. You're with your wife so much, you become one of the girlfriends. It's her friends, everybody else, and you're one of the girlfriends. You go to the mall with them to have coffee. Instead of go learn Torah, do something useful with your life, no, you want to talk with the girls. You want to talk with the guys. Every day you're out, go to the movies together. Too much. So the best case scenario, a person leaves this world, say, listen, we love you, we'll take you to the grave. We'll take the casket, we'll cry for a year. Take the casket, bury it, Kaddish. That's the most we can do. We can't help you over there. Why? It was fun while it was lasted, but we're still alive. You're finished. Can't help you over there. That's the second friend. The third friend, Rabotai Karim, the third friend that called him, excited to help him, saying he'll defend him, saying he'll fight for him, saying he loves him. That's the Torah and Ma'asim Tovim. That's the Torah that he's learned and the tzedakah that he gave that was actually valuable tzedakah, the chesed that he did that's valuable chesed, that he didn't do for the sake of kavod, that he didn't do for the sake of earning himself a name. Real Torah that he learned, real chesed that he did, kindness that he did for the sake of the truth. That is what the only thing that's going to defend him here and eternally. If a person actually takes the story to heart and applies it to their life, they could arrive at Rosh Hashanah perfectly comfortable and at ease, that everything's going to be okay. Why? Because you're on the right road. Even if you haven't been until now, but you commit to be on this road, you're good to go. Why? You know that money is simply a tool, no different than a hammer. You use a hammer for putting nails in, to build stuff. Use money in order to build stuff. What can you build in this world that you can take to the next world? Torah. You're going to use the money that you have to build Torah in this world. It's worth it. It's worth it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you more of it. If you're going to use your money just to build houses, then Hashem says, okay, you're just building stuff that's temporary. Now, there's a very famous saying in regards to tzedakah when a person gives it and what's the value that we learned from Rabbi Akiva. There's a minhag that some Jews still keep, some don't, that when a couple gets married, on their day of the wedding, they fast. It's a minhag, it's not halacha. We didn't do it. And generally speaking, not everybody does it. Some people choose to do it. Now, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva did it. Gemara says, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva was getting married, and her groom, her husband-to-be, Fasted all day. Fast. They had a celebration, big celebration. Baruch Hashem, of course, there's no mixed dancing, there's no mixed nothing. Holy of holies. But now, at some point, the event is taking a break, so the bride wants to get something to eat. So they give her a meal. She's excited to eat. She hasn't eaten the whole day. It's already night. She's starving to death. She goes to her room. She can't eat in front of people. She goes to her room to go eat. And right before, when she goes into the door, she's ready. She's about to, it's a nice, it's a bride. You're going to give her a nice meal, right? After all, she paid for the whole wedding. She's excited. That time, she's excited. She's going to have a meal. She's really excited. Her father, on the other hand, Rabbi Akiva, is not excited at all. Why he's not excited? Because he had Ruach HaKodesh. And he saw through Ruach HaKodesh that his daughter was going to die on the day she gets married. So everybody's happy, and he hasn't told anybody. Everybody's happy, celebrating, Siman Tov, Mazal Tov, Siman Tov, Mazal Tov, and Rabbi Akiva is eating his heart out the whole time. He says, Hashem Yachem, please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, 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 please. But he knows he can't do nothing. Why? The decree is already signed. He knows that at the end of the day, his daughter's got, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking a neshama, dude, goes up to heaven. That's it, finished. So he's happy, but he's unhappy. As you would know it, she is about to have her meal, and suddenly, somebody knocks on the door. She gets up, still without having a single bite, opens the door, and sees some poor guy asking for money. You have something? Tzedakah. He says, I don't have pockets, I don't have any money, but, okay, here, take food. Oh, food, okay, that's why I want to tzedakah, I want to buy food. She gives him the food. She's starving, but what are you going to do? Poor guy looked disheveled. She gave him the food. I'll find food another time. At least I'll get some rest. So she gives him the food. He goes on his way. She closes the door. She sits down. She takes the pin out of her hair. She had her hair done. She takes the pin out of her hair and she sticks it in the wall, right next to the door. And she sits down. A little while later, she gets up. She opens the door. She's her father, Rabbi Akiva. Oh, Abba. He goes, how? He looks at her, how? How are you still alive? Abba, are you okay? You okay? He goes, no. How? What'd you do? He goes, tell me everything you did. She tells him, I came, I wanted to eat, I didn't eat. He goes, what happened with the food? No, some poor guy came, he wanted the food. He gave him the food? Yeah. It's a big tzedakah, wow. But what else did you do? Nothing, I just sat here, I've been sitting here for the last half hour, relaxing, and that's it. So Rabbi Akiva looks behind the door and he sees there's blood on the wall. He takes the pin out and connected to the pin comes through the wall a snake. The snake that was sent from heaven to kill her. And from there Rabbi Akiva says, here we see tzedakah tatzil mimavet. You give tzedakah, real tzedakah, it'll save your life even. Even if there was a decree in heaven that it's your time, you did such a big chesed, such a big thing. It was hard for you to do, it can even save your life. That's how valuable it is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for somebody to break their desires. Now, if you give some homeless guy $5 or a hamburger, don't expect that to change your life. Why? Because in this generation, first of all, we're rich in comparison to the previous generation. Second of all, you haven't been fasting. Third of all, not everybody has the same test. But the point being is that this is to show us how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu values when a person breaks their own character traits. Now, the Targum Yonatan Targum Yonatan says that when Bnei Israel went to the war with Midian, the women of Midian were prepared inside the tents with all of their jewelry, all of their money waiting for them. But they were wearing all of the jewelry. And the reason why is because they said, listen, if the Midian people are going to lose the war in the field, we're going to beat them anyway. How? By making them fall for money, and then the women, and then Hashem Yachem, what's going to happen? So what happens? All the women, all the beautiful women, were waiting inside the tents, wearing all of their jewelry. So they knew that as soon as the Jews go into the tents, they see the women, that's it, finished. But Yonatan ben Uziel, which was one of the biggest Tanaim, to such an extent the Gemara says that when he would learn Torah, he would create a spiritual fire that any time a bird would fly over him, it would burn as if it was a sacrifice. That's how holy his Torah was. And he says that Am Yisrael, when they came back to Moshe Rabbeinu, they said, Velo nifkad mimenu ish. Not a single person died from this war. He said, how could this be? He says, when they went into the tents, they knew one thing. They knew they already failed at something. They knew they already failed to the trap of the Midianite people in the past, which means that, okay, we're here, we're going to collect the money, and then we're going to go. We're not going to look at this woman for even a second. This is how a person needs to treat his job. People always ask me for business advice or job advice. They go into new careers, new jobs. Your job is perfectly fine as long as it's a kosher job. But the way you have to treat your job is the same way that Am Yisrael treated this mission. They knew they had to go win the war, take the possessions, give it to the rest of Am Yisrael for the Bet HaMikdash and so on and so forth. They had a job. They couldn't avoid it. That was part of the war. But they knew that if they look 1 second the wrong location, finished. This is, Rabotai, how we're supposed to treat our careers, our job, our missions. You go to work, you do your job, you follow what you're supposed to do. If you're paid for 9 to 5, you work 9 to 5. You're paid for, 9 to 6, you work 9 to 6. Whatever you're doing, you're supposed to do. Not a minute more, not a minute less, unless it's a mitzvah to work this job. For example, if you work, making a Sifrei Torah. Making Sifrei Torah doesn't have a schedule. You work on making lectures. You're a speaker. There's no time for that. That's 24 hours a day. You're in a kiruv organization. You're doing kiruv. You give out CDs. There's no time for that. That's mitzvah to do it. But if you have a regular job, you work in a stock market, you deliver newspapers, you work for UPS, do stuff like that, you work whatever your boss pays you for. If he needs you a little extra, a little more, fine, but within reason. But as soon as you're done with this mission, that's it, finish. Go and actually start doing what you're supposed to do in the world, which is to serve Hashem. Go learn Torah, go pray, go raise a Jewish home, go do that. Don't bring your job and your career and your obsession with money to the rest of your life. There's 24 hours in a day. 9, 10 of them belong to your job, no problem. Go work your 8, 9 hours, but after that, finished. That's the mistake that people make, is that they don't ever finish. That was my mistake on Wall Street. I never had to finish. My schedule never ended. It never ended. It was simply 24 hours a day. If I was awake, I was working. Now, it's still the case now, but the difference is now it's a mitzvah to work. Back then, it wasn't exactly a mitzvah. So, the point is that we are allowed to work, we're allowed to make money, we're allowed to be successful, but we also have to be real with ourselves. Now, sometimes a person denies the truth. He simply thinks, okay, this is nice, but you don't understand. You're obsessed with this stuff and blah, 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 as if I was born in the streets. Sometimes you tell people the truth and they don't accept the truth because they think that they know better. Now, this week's parasha, Parashat Nitzavim, says that there are all types of people in the world. There are people that are tzaddikim. There are people that are reshaim. And there are people that are somewhere in between, Benunim. Alvai, we were all Benunim. Alvai, we're all in the middle. But he says there's certain types of people that are Reshaim, but they do tshuva, they become tzaddikim. Certain types of tzaddikim that they fall for some type of desire, and they become Reshaim. But either way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu always leaves the door open. You want to do tshuva, you always have a door open. Except specific conditions. There's certain types of person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, this person I'm never going to forgive him. This person I hate him. This person, even if he prays on Rosh Hashanah, he's wasting his words. This Gemara says there's a certain amount of words every person gets in their lifetime. They like to talk a lot. They're simply killing themselves. He says this person prays, he's simply killing himself. I don't want to talk to him. Who is this person? In Sefer Dvarim, Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, says, והיה בשמעו את דברי העלה הזאת, והתברך בלבבו לאמור, שלום יהיה לי, כי בשרירות ליבי אלך למען שפות ערבה את עצמיה. Says, and it will be that when he, this person, hears the words of this imprecation, this rebuke, instead of doing tshuva, instead of saying, you know what, maybe I should work on my generosity. Maybe I should work on my obsession with money. Maybe I should work on my modesty. Maybe I should work on whatever it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent me a message. I heard a Shiur Torah, the rabbi said this. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to hear it. He's not delusional, thinking, no, this rabbi is talking to everybody else except me. If you are listening to a lecture, that means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to listen to it. That means that it's for you. It's not for him. It's for you. No, but what? I'm generous. Apparently not enough. Why? But I'm modest. Apparently not enough. Why? If the rabbi mentioned modesty, that means you're not modest enough. That means you need to do something. If the rabbi mentioned generosity, that means you need to do something. And it's not talking about me. I'm talking about in general, all of us. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent you a message, that's for a reason. Don't be delusional thinking, oh no, it's for everybody behind me. It's not for me. There's a message, but it's for everybody behind me, not for me. Why? Because if a person does such a thing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if he hears these words of imprecation, but he blesses himself in his heart saying, peace will be with me, even though I walk as my heart sees fit. He says, there's nothing wrong, I'm perfectly fine. I keep Shabbat the best that I can. I give whenever I get a chance. I bought something that's modest according to some opinions. My wig is only 2.5 feet tall, it's not 3. I cover this once in a while. I give here. I learn once I get a chance. You know, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm fine. He's talking to everybody else, not me. This parasha is talking to everybody else, not me. He says a person that says such a thing, has such an attitude, says Hashem will not be willing to forgive him. For then Hashem's anger and jealousy will smoke against that man, and the entire imprecation, all of the curses, the rebuke written in this book will come down upon him, and Hashem will erase his name from under the heavens. Lo yoveh Adonai sloach lo, ki az yashan af Adonai b'kinato, באיש ההוא ורבצה בו כל העלה הכתובה בספר הזה ומחה אדוני את שמו מתחת השמיים. Such an attitude is so detestable to Hashem. A person thinks they're perfectly fine. No, I'm here and I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. You do you, I'll do me. That type of attitude, Hashem says, I hate it. Why? That's pretty much a person that thinks that he's perfectly fine and he's only going to the Beit Knesset for Yom Adin, for Rosh Hashanah, just to fulfill the obligation of praying. He doesn't actually think his life is on the line. People go to the Beit Knesset on Rosh Hashanah thinking that, what? Look, I did it last year. I did it the year before. I've been doing it for 30 years. Nothing ever happened. Oh, I'm still alive. All the rabbis are dying, but I'm still alive. Oh Hashem, look, I'm alive. So I'll go to Beit Knesset again this year. I'll go pray. Judgment Day, Judgment Day. Okay, good for you. Good for you, Judgment Day. It's a powerful chizuk. Good, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I'm perfectly fine. He goes to the Beit Knesset on Judgment Day. He thinks there's nothing to be afraid of. He can't wait to go home to eat 3 pounds of sugar and honey, maybe a special sgula for a good year. He's going to bathe himself in honey this year. He thinks the honey is going to make his year good. He doesn't think tshuva is going to make his year good. He thinks the honey is going to make his year good. He thinks that if he eats the head of the fish or the sheep or the whatever animal he wants to pick, that's what's going to make his year good, not tshuva. He doesn't think his life is actually on the line. That, Rabotai, is an attitude that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates. It's a delusional attitude where a person actually thinks that they're perfectly fine. Now, the more righteous a person is, the more they know Torah, you'll notice the more scared they are of Judgment Day. Now, if you look at the Yalkut Yosef, talks about Rosh Hashanah, it says that a person is not supposed to cry on Rosh Hashanah. Not supposed to bring themselves to cry on Rosh Hashanah, intentionally and for no reason. But, if you're in the middle of prayer, and it's during that moment you become passionate, and you start crying, the Arizal says, this is a sign from heaven that at this moment, your neshama is on the line. In the middle of prayer, you're happy, manishma, shana tova, you take a candy, even though you haven't done kiddush yet, everything is good, manishma. But all of a sudden, in the middle of Amidah, or in the middle of one of the things, all of a sudden you get like you lost your breath. All of a sudden, it's like a little tear came out, but you're not even sure why. The Arizal says, at that moment, your neshama is on the line in heaven. That's why you're crying. Why? Because your neshama knows the truth. It doesn't know if it's going to make it. Doesn't know. That's why it's crying. That cry, mitzvah. That type of cry, you should do it. But to force yourself to cry, pretend like you're really sad, don't kid yourself. Not during this day. But if you're crying because you're getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a mitzvah. So there's a time and a place. Now, the more righteous a person is, the more he understands the things that I'm talking about. Even if he doesn't feel it, he understands it, he can reason it. And you'll see that the more righteous people are, the Chachamim, when they prepared for Rosh Hashanah, when they prepared for Yom Kippur, it was very, very different. It wasn't based on a shopping list. It wasn't based on which shul are you going to pray in? Which shul are you going to pray in? Oh, are you going to go this way or are you going to go that way? They knew that their neshama were on the line. Whereas the ignorant, us, we're preparing with boikas. We're preparing with what kind of meatballs you're going to eat in the afternoon. We're preparing where are you going to eat dinner? At his house or her house? That's how we prepare for Yom Adin. Now, the funny thing is, the more a person knows, the more he's scared he is. But that's only in the spiritual world. In the civil world, in the money world, the more a person knows about the law, the more comfortable he is. The more you know about the IRS code, the more you're comfortable, even though it's not comfortable to get the IRS to call you or send you a letter in the mail, say, listen, we're auditing you. If you know everything, you know all the laws, you know the loopholes, you know what you did and what you didn't do, You're perfectly fine. It's like, yeah, come, no problem. You could be here for 6 months, 6 years. I'm okay. But a person that knows the law of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the more he knows, the more scared he is. How come? If you knew the law of, let's say, the state, and you're in a construction business, and the state sends you a letter, we're going to come on Tuesday to audit your operation. If you know the law, you're not scared. But if you are Talmid Chacham, you're the biggest rabbi in the world. Every year it's the same Rosh Hashanah. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 80 years. You're doing Rosh Hashanah, but every year you're more scared. How come? How come if you're more righteous, you're more scared, but in the money world, you're never more scared? Who wants to offer an answer? The answer is, Rabotai, in the money world, we're living al alma de shika. We're living in a world of lies. It's easy to know the lies. It's easy to know that information. It's easy to beat the system. In the world of Torah, it's olam ha'emet. The more you know about it, the more you know how much of a lie you're living and how much you're violating this emet. The more you know about Torah, the more you realize how great your responsibility is to your Creator. And how you're not fulfilling it, no matter how righteous you are, no matter how much Torah you know. In fact, the more you know how you're not doing enough of a job. And that's why the tzaddikim, when they arrived at Yom Adin, they got really scared. Rav Friedlander, Alav Shalom, Rav Chaim Friedlander, was a mashgiach in Yeshivat Ponovich. And unfortunately, he got the machala. He got cancer, so much to the point that he couldn't talk. Couldn't talk very much. But one year, he told his students to bring bed, bring him in the bed to the yeshiva. With the bed. Couldn't move, couldn't do nothing, but bring me to the yeshiva. Bring to the yeshiva. All the students seeing the Rabbi like this, Shem Elachem. And then he gives them all the news. Rosh Hashanah, this is what you're praying for. So this doesn't happen to you. That's what you're praying for. You're not praying so you could pass the test. You're not praying so Hashem could put a few more shekels in your pocket only. You're not praying so you could just get a bigger house and a bigger kitchen and a nicer car and people like you and you'll find a wife. It's not just that. You're also praying so you don't get cancer. Arav Yagen Alav Shalom, in his last lecture, last Rosh Hashanah lecture he gave to his students after he already had the machala, after he already had cancer, the amount of pain that he had, he said he had to take over, I think it was a dozen or half a dozen pills just to make the lecture. And you see him crying, mamash, crying in the lecture. Breaks your heart. You see how this powerful man, Hashem, mamash, what happened? How the disease, mamash, destroyed him. He's in massive amount of pain. And he's giving a shiur. And he says, had I known last Rosh Hashanah that this was going to happen, I would have never slept. I would have never ate. I would have never stopped crying. I would have never stopped praying. I would have never wasted any time had I known this is going to happen. The more a person knows, the more he can save himself from himself. But the problem is that sometimes we're so busy enjoying this world that we forget that we're here for a different purpose. What is that like? One time a guy wanted to find a shidduch for his daughter. And the guy came, told him, listen, there's a guy, Talmid Chacham, he learned to do. Good guy. Why don't you try him? It's okay, no problem. So he calls the guys. Listen, I want you to take my daughter on a date for shidduch, but before you take her out, I want to talk to you. Come to the house a little early and we'll talk. So the young guy comes to the house, and they sit down. And the young guy says, you have a cup of water? Sure, no problem. Yeah, a cup of water. Yeah, the chaim. After he drinks a little water, a couple of words, and he says, you have maybe coffee? Coffee? Sure, no, coffee, okay. Honey, get the guy coffee. Coffee here, chabod, coffee. With the coffee, maybe there's a cake or something, a cookie? Okay, no, get the guy a cookie, cake, seder, no, for shidduch, okay, cake, cookie. After the guy finishes the cookie and the cake and the coffee, you maybe fruit. You have fruit, maybe some grapes or something. Something to, wash my mouth with, sometimes the grapes. Sure, okay, no problem. Come, get up, grapes, apples, strawberry, whatever. He says, after he finished, he goes, it's good stuff, but now that I finished, I washed my mouth from the dairy and with the fruit. Any chance you guys maybe made some lunch, some meatballs or something? Pasta or some ore, some rice maybe? Yeah, we made some lunch. Okay, yeah, bechavod, you come eat. Okay, we'll eat lunch. So they start eating lunch, and he's eating lunch. He says, but surely you guys made lunch. That means there has to be dessert, right? Okay, we'll give you the dessert. Obviously, he didn't come to my house, because at this point he's already out. But this tzaddik is giving him some dessert also. After he finishes the dessert, he goes, any chance you have a good glass of wine, a little small glass of wine, red wine? One of those like Chardonnay, something that costs a lot of money. Just a little, nice, right? Right in the afternoon. Chavod is some yain, Birkat Hamazon, finished. Wow, I'm tired. Can you show me where the bed is? The father takes him by the ear, what I've already done, I would have done already by the coffee, by the way. Well, anyway, takes him by the ear, he goes, here's the bed outside. Oh, what did I do? What? What, you guys don't host any guests here? Guests? What guests? Go guest somewhere else. You came for a shidduch. He goes, what? What did I ask for? What, you want me to pay you for it? I'll pay you for the cookie and the cake. What's the big deal? He doesn't think it's a big deal. He says, Shalom Yeli, what did I do so wrong? Now, everybody here, do I have to ask you what he did wrong? Or do you understand what he did wrong? Okay, so you know what? Just to make sure, let's play it a different way. Let's say the same guy didn't go for a shidduch. He went to a restaurant in a hotel lobby. These hotels, some of them have some really nice restaurants. So he goes to the hotel lobby, they have a restaurant, he says, can I have some water? Sure, sir. Here you go, sir. Anything else I got? Yeah, coffee too. Sure, sir. Sure, here's a coffee. 2 seconds later, you have maybe some dessert? Yeah, they give him a whole menu. What dessert do you want, sir? They don't even say his name. They say, sir. This is respect, sir. He said, what do you want, sir? We have 18 different cakes from 16 different countries. Which one do you want, sir? Oh, I wanted the cheese, but not the regular cheese, the one with the cookie in it. And the chips in it over there. Not that one with that cookie, the other cookie. But can you make it a little warm for me? Because I like it when the cheese melts a little bit. Can you make a little, in the micro a little bit, 2 seconds? Sure, sir. No problem. At your service, sir. Brings him the cake. He goes, I saw that guy over there. He had some fruit. He had some fruit with his cheesecake. Can I get some fruit too? Sir, what? I thought you're never going to ask, sir. He goes and he starts running around. Sir, I got you the best apple in town, sir. Sir, here's the apple and the apple and the grapes and the oh, sir. Listen, I'm kind of hungry. I have all this nice food you have. Any chance you guys made some meatballs, some rice, sir? I already know what you want, sir. I know. We're friends, sir. We're friends. It's like I was born with you in the same body. Sir, I already got the meal is already being cooked for you. Ready? It'll be here in 2 minutes. I ordered it for you. It's on me, sir. The guy gives him a meal. He has the thing. He goes, no, you have some wine. The best wine. Hey, look, the whole wall. He opens the wall. It's all glass. Different bottles of wine from 1912 all the way till now. What kind of wine do you want, sir? At the end, he says, I just want to know, where's the bed? The guy says, the bed is room 504. Now, what's the difference between these two? One of them threw him out. The other one said, sir, it's room 504. Thank you very much for coming. Please come again. What's the difference? Obvious difference. On one of them, he doesn't pay. The other one, he pays. That's the obvious difference. You paid for the food. You didn't pay for the food. But that's not the reason why I told you this. The significant difference is, it's perfectly fine to order food and enjoy the food if that's what you came for. You came to a restaurant to eat. Enjoy the food. That's what you're paying for. That's what you're there for. It's not okay to come for the food if you're coming for a shidduch, if you're here on an appointment. It's perfectly fine to enjoy materialism, money, and all of the other things in the world if that's the only reason you came to the world. But does anybody here actually think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created 10 to the 18th power of stars in the universe, all types of galaxies, suns and moons, atmospheres, and different types of weather systems, 40,000 different types of fish that we know about, over 2 million species on Earth that we know about, different types of looks, no two faces are the same, no two fingerprints are the same, beards, no beards, different religions, people hate you, people love you, only one Torah, but a lot of fake ones. You think he did all of that just for you to have some Twizzlers? You think he did all of that for you to come in and eat some potato chips? You think he did all of that just so you could actually buy a car from Ford for a discount? Or from Dodge? Or maybe you want to go to the Germans and buy some Mercedes. That's what you came to the world for. Or maybe he got you to come to the world so you could work for Qualcomm or UPS and tell people you make a good living. I'm middle class, but I'm on the way to upper. We only have 2 dogs, but 3 kids. We only have 3 dogs, but 1 kid. You know, that's what you came to the world, for the kids and the dogs and to pick up poop in the streets. That's what you came to the world. Is that what you actually think? Hashem did all of that for you to pick up poop? To collect a paycheck, to pay some bills, to pay the phone bill 3 times because you forgot you paid it? That's why you came to the world? Which means, if that's all we occupy ourselves with, paying bills, picking up poop, eating dinner, and then going to sleep, obviously, we're not giving Hashem much of an argument of why He should give us another year, let alone another minute. But if you arrive at Rosh Hashanah with a real argument, okay, I need to do stuff. I need to eat because I'm a human being. I need to make money because I need to pay for the food for the human being that I am. I need to have a house so I could live somewhere and not live in the streets. It's perfectly fine to do stuff, but not to make your life all about it. If your life is all about materialism, then your life is simply meaningless. That's why today you see many, many people risk their life for no reason. They jump out of planes, they go all types of bikes, 300 miles an hour it seems like. They risk their life with bungee cords and bungee jumps, and they shoot this and they shoot that, and they just simply do a bunch of really ridiculous things. Why? Because that's what they came for nothing. There's no purpose to their life. They say, oh, my life is football. So they risk their life for a football. My life is adrenaline. So they do whatever is going to get their adrenaline going. They'll jump out of a plane. They'll climb a mountain. You know, instead of just like looking at it in pictures, they'll actually want to do it because their life is meaningless. So they have to simply risk it for no reason. But if your life actually has a meaning, if you understand that there's more to life than this materialism, then you'll appreciate your life and you won't risk it. You won't waste it. And you'll see that all of the things that you want to do, most of the time they're perfectly allowed. You just have to prioritize them differently. It's perfectly fine to work. It's perfectly fine to get married. It's perfectly fine to have fun, as long as it's part of your priority and not the only priority. This is the mistake that we make on a day-to-day basis. If we take the words of rebuke from the Torah and apply it to our life, then we can arrive at Rosh Hashanah prepared perfectly and understand that we have something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do in the world. And we're going to do it. But if we're simply going to say, Shalom Yeli, I'm perfectly fine, you live and let live. I know how I want, and Hashem understands me. It's better off to not even bother. Why? Because I'm already telling you, you don't have to go to Rosh Hashanah to find out what the decree is. The decree is already here. Hashem says He hates people like this. People that give up on themselves, pretty much they decide they're going to run the show. So, one of the ways that a person can save themselves during Rosh Hashanah is by working on every one of the things that they see as connecting them to the material world. As we've talked about money extensively, more than to my likings, but unfortunately this is just necessary for people today. People are very connected to it, very addicted to it. It's very important to know your own limits, to know your own limitations. If you have a hard time using your money for Torah purposes, it's a very, very bad thing. It's something that's called ma'us. Ma'us means Hashem hates it. He finds it despicable when a person is stingy when it comes to Torah. So, it's also important to know that just donating blindly to some big Jewish organization just because they're Jewish doesn't make that tzedakah either. As we've talked about in the past. You have to make sure that you investigate, you know what you're doing, you're not just donating blindly. I know that people like to donate during holidays, but a lot of people, I would say 99% of the money is donated is a complete waste of money. It goes to a bunch of purposes that are purposeless. So you have to evaluate these things. You have to understand that there is a lot more to life. Now, last but not least, one thing I'm going to tell you is I haven't told you a story in a while, so I'll tell you another story. And then you guys can ask whatever questions you want. During these next few days, you're going to see some people you didn't see the whole year. Now, people ask all the time, how do I know if my rabbi is a servant of Hashem or a servant of people? I don't know if the rabbi is a real rabbi. Because sometimes it's tough to tell. You ask him a question, he gives you an answer. You ask him, what's the halakha? Can I eat this? He says no. He says yes. He knows the details. He knows the material. But how do I know he's the rabbi that I should follow and let into my life and connect to him? One of the ways is to see if he's a ish emet. How can you see if he's a ish emet? One of the ways you'll see is how he treats people that are not exactly religious, but are very, very rich. Now, the Rambam writes that if you see somebody that's not religious, as long as they're not anti-Torah, you should bring them closer, as we talked about in the beginning of the shiur. As long as they're not anti-Torah, they're just ignorant, bring them closer, be kind to them, encourage them, give them some knowledge. Simply, all you got to do is insert some information to these people, and they'll end up falling in love with Hashem. It's only a matter of time. But if they're anti-Torah, run away from them. But sometimes you see certain people, they care less about Torah, but they still go to shul. Why? Because it's once a year they get together with the kehillah. Once a year they get together with the community because they like to show off how successful they are. So, very, very famous story that was republished in Yerushalayim just this past week. My Rav sent it to me. But Rav Steinemann. Rav Steinemann didn't, as we saw from the previous story, didn't jump as soon as people mentioned money, to say the least. And one time, there was a certain gvir, certain guy, very rich guy, but completely secular, that heard about Rav Steinemann, and he says, I want to meet him. So you get to the rabbis that he donates millions of dollars to, and he says, I want to meet that rabbi. He says, who? That Rav Steinemann. I heard his house, a small little house. I want to meet him. No problem. We'll take you to him. The rabbis, excited, they're going to spend a day with this rich guy. Maybe they get another few dollars from him. They bring him to Rav Steinemann, and it's a opportunity to show and tell. They bring him to the rabbi. It's like, for the Rav, this is Mr. Such and Such. He gives a lot of money. Donations. Yeshivot, this, that. Maybe the Rav could give him a nice bracha. Rav Steinemann was learning as usual, and he wouldn't even pick up his head. And they're talking to him as if they're talking to his forehead, but he understands what they're saying, and he's just learning. And shortly after they stop talking, he doesn't raise his head, but he asks the guy, you keep Shabbat? You keep Shabbat? The guy starts mumbling, starts stuttering. Yeah, but he says, you don't have the merit to get a bracha. I can't give you a bracha. The rabbis that were there, everybody was shocked. Gdol Ador cannot give this guy that donates millions of dollars a bracha. Why? He doesn't keep Shabbat. I mean, technically, why not? But you can't tell the Gdol Ador for the Rav, no, come on, he gives. You don't argue. Biggest rabbi in the world says no. So everybody goes back into their little holes. They all go into the car, and it's quiet like somebody died. The rabbis are pretty much saying Kaddish on the money this guy's ever going to give them. They're saying this guy's never going to donate a single dollar again. What an embarrassment. Why did we bring him? I can't believe the rabbi did this to us. But it's quiet. They're all talking to themselves. After about a half hour of quiet, the rich guy speaks up and he says, דעו לכם, האיש הזה שהיינו אצלו, הוא אוהב אותי, באמת. יש כאלה שאוהבים את הכסף שלי, ובשביל זה לא יעירו לי על הדברים מסוימים כדי שלא יפסידו. אבל כאן, זה היה אחרת. He says, you should know, that man, that we were there by him, he loves me. Some people love my money. And that's why they don't tell me certain things, because they don't want to get hurt themselves. But here, it was different. He loves me for real. The secular guy got the message. It was hard, it was painful, but it worked. Rabotai, if your rabbi is a chanfan, where he doesn't care if the person prays with the minyan, doesn't pray with the minyan, keeps Shabbat, doesn't keep Shabbat, he pretty much, if the guy has money, he loves him, you should start searching for a new one. Why? It's impossible to rely on his truth. I don't mean he's nice to everybody. He can be nice to everybody. He's supposed to be nice to everybody. I'm talking about a kiss-up. People that treat the rich people differently than everybody else. Meaning they determine how they treat a person based on how much money they have. So during this Rosh Hashanah, you're going to see a lot of people that you don't see during the rest of the year at your shul. And you're going to see how the speech is going to be. If the speech doesn't give anybody any boosts to do tshuva, to change, to keep Shabbat, to keep the laws of the Torah, then you have to realize that this HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you a test, and one of those tests is for you to search out the truth, but it's not from this place. It's from somewhere else. Needless to say, the fact that you know this is already a big ma'ala over the rest of the generation that doesn't know this. But these are some of the things that a person needs to evaluate during these next few days. Tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, we have a shiur about questions and answers. Anybody that has any questions, whether it's Rosh Hashanah related or non-related, please ask. If you have questions for now, you could ask questions now. Not Rosh Hashanah related. Tomorrow we'll do Rosh Hashanah stuff. But if you have questions about other stuff, we can answer them now. Any questions? Beseder Rabotai, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Next week is only one shiur. Only one shiur next week. So tomorrow is the last shiur of the year. Next week there's only one shiur. Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.